Tammy, do you know how many say reply to you?
Unfortunately, there wasn't a ton, so
Okay.
this may be us.
All right. Is Martin here?
He is not. I believe he has a conflict.
Okay. All right. So, and then I will, let's start the meeting. Michelle, thanks for attending. We really appreciate it. So she's a native Hoosier, and Michelle Study-Campbell is a graduate of Marian University and has a Master of Public Affairs from Indiana University. And you did the presentation at the Salt Lake City, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So she, I think, had it before Paul talked about the 10 responsibilities of sponsor. And so I wanted Michelle to talk about global leadership so that, because this could be a differentiator for our clubs when we bring it to the school. And also she's going to talk about homecoming. And so I think we have exciting news. So without further ado, please welcome Michelle.
Thanks, everybody. Happy to be here tonight. I am fresh back from our Key Club International Summer Leadership Conference, where we tried out our first hybrid event. We had about 110 or so people in person down in steamy Orlando, and close to 1,200 online. So a great event. Caught a little bit of a cold, so just forgive me if I cough. I will turn off my volume so you don't have to hear that, and then bounce right back wherever we are in the presentation. So tonight, as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Global Leadership Certificate. It's a project that we started about a little over a year ago. We piloted it this past year, and then I'm going to take you through our big homecoming kickoff. And there's actually been some more things developed since our time together in Salt Lake City. So with that, am I able to share my screen? Ah, perfect. Because, you know, it's not a real presentation if there's not a PowerPoint. And there's videos in here, so let's see if I did the audio correct. All right, so that's me, Michelle Study-Campbell. I am with Kiwanis Youth Programs. I'm your executive director, which just means I get the honor to work with all 5 of our SLPs on a regular basis. So K-Kids all the way through Action Club. So when I took this role about a year and a half ago, I was really looking at our curriculum and what we provided students beyond just an opportunity to serve and lead. How do we really teach and deliver on those lifelong skills that they need to get? And how can we be more intentional than just thinking that they get this through certain service projects and so forth? And so we know that we do the service and the leadership well, but we wanted to really codify that and put it into a curriculum. And so when we started brainstorming and doing a lot of research, because we certainly didn't want to make sure that there was a need, that we couldn't just purchase something off the shelf and make it fit our program, but what we were creating is something unique in the marketplace. And so we really centered around the idea of building curriculum around service, leadership, and fellowship. And I'll make sure that y'all have access to these slides when we're finished so you can have this. So with those 3 core kind of values, pillars, we put together 39 different courses that will be launching throughout this year. We spent this past year delivering 3 courses and doing an in-depth pilot around those. And I'm going to share with you the pilot findings and then what we plan to do in the upcoming school year. So each of those core values has 3 to 5 competencies, and then each competency has another 3 or 4 modules. All right, I may have to find a cough drop. I'm sorry. I thought I could do it. 100% online, and each module will include an assessment. And here is a video.
Hello, Key Clubbers. My name is Yana Patel, and I currently serve as governor for the Illinois Eastern Iowa District. The environment, hunger or food insecurity, animals, what matters to you? Are you passionate about education, or is cleaning the ocean your thing? In the new Global Leadership Certificate course, Putting Your Passions into Practice, you can explore and identify how you can apply your passions to volunteer opportunities through your club, in your community, and in your life. Register now.
All right, so that was she was an Illinois Eastern Iowa governor last year, and took that video, a little raw on the pixelation and so forth, but was able to create that at home. We helped write the script. And so another thing that the Global Leadership Certificate does is really puts a highlight on our students. And we've got one of our Hoosier International trustees coming up here in a bit. I'm going to share with you. So the pilot ran October of 2020 through May 21. In October, we launched Voting Your Civic Duty. That one was much more North American than a global focus, really focused on the US election, of course, in November. We also had a Canadian election, so we had information there, as well as there was a couple elections down in the Caribbean. So. And then in January, we launched Strategic versus Tactical, which has been a very popular course. It's been our most popular, and some of the feedback on that one has just really been tremendous, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. And then April, Turning Passions into Practice, is one that really helped open the eyes of our students. Our initial goal, our initial goal was to have about 600 students all in, give the course a try. We thought that that was enough density to get some good feedback and user information. We had over 2,500 Key Club students and 500 CKI students, so well above our goal, which just shows there's a big demand. And the feedback that we've received from our students so far is that there isn't anything like this in the marketplace. And I'm going to show you another example of how we're highlighting our students. And here's Indiana's own Emma Brainerd, our past Key Club trustee, recorded this for us for our pilot last year. Let's see if it's on this one.
Whether you're a leader of your Key Club, a leader in your school, someone who wants to be a leader someday, or not a leader at all, understanding the different types of leadership is important. We'll all have to lead something someday, whether it's a school project, a team at work, a family, or a club. Leadership is something we all will have to do, and probably already do every day, without even realizing it. Most people think that in order to be a leader, you have to have a title like president or vice president, manager or principal. But the truth is that leadership shows up in lots of different ways, like jumping in, helping to get a task, project, or event done, sharing an idea or opinion when you're brainstorming as a group, speaking up when you see a problem, or helping others in your team. In reality, there are lots of different definitions of what leadership is, and even more opinions about what skills a leader needs to be successful. We believe that vision is one of the most important characteristics of a leader. Vision is what helps imagine a new, different, and better future for our clubs, our communities, and our world. It's what inspires people to help, and it sets a goal way out in the distance of what we are working towards together. That type of leadership is more commonly known as strategic leadership. Strategic leaders have the ability to see the big picture and paint a vision of the future for others. They understand where we are today and can creatively imagine where we could be in the future, 1 year, 5 years, or even 20 years down the road. We need strategic leaders in every club, organization, company, and government. They are the people that imagine the possibilities of what we could be in the future. Don't get me wrong, dreams are good. That's why strategic leadership is so important. But we have to have people that take those dreams and ideas and say, here's how we're going to make those dreams a reality. Those people are tactical leaders. Tactical leaders are organized, detailed, and love to make plans. They're great at creating lists with clear steps that they can cross off one by one. They are the people who build the plan, do the work, and manage everyone else who's doing the work too. The details are very important to them, and completion of every checkbox is critical. They are integral to the success of idea, goal, or dream. But tactical leaders don't always love taking risks, and they don't always navigate change very well. They need strategic leaders to continue to paint the picture of the vision for them. Otherwise, they'll get too focused on the checklist to remember why the work they're doing matters. It's possible to be both strategic and tactical as a leader. However, you will always have one that you naturally gravitate toward or enjoy doing more. Knowing if you're a strategic or tactical leader is important. When you know which one you are, then you know what other types of leaders you need around you to balance you out and help your group be successful. Strategic leaders ask why, and tactical leaders ask how. Both types of leaders are necessary to the success of any group. Like we said in the beginning, however, having a vision for your group, a goal that you're working toward, is most important. You need strategic leadership to help create the vision and tactical leadership to then get you there. Create the vision, then create the plan, then get to work.
So that was Emma, and she and Cheyenne, and then we had a couple of CKI students were able during the pandemic to come in, and we did everything very distanced, just one person at a time, to knock out the recordings for the pilot. So so incredibly thankful that we have such awesome Kiwanis Youth Program and SLP members here in our backyard. So right now we're, the pilot ended in May, and we've used June and July to collect data from our students to have a better understanding about what pieces they liked, what they'd like to see changed. I'm pleased to report that right now 85% of our students have rated the program above average or excellent, which is fantastic. No one has said that it's below average. Each course is taking about 20 minutes or so for the students to complete, which we think is enough rigor. We know we don't want this to be like a 3 credit hour course on campus, but keeps their interest and really delivers enough information. So when you think about each competency has so many modules, it's about an hour to an hour and a half per main theme. And then, each of those pillars had those kind of themes and then modules under them. So it's going to add up to be several hours. But this is not something that students should sit down and think they're going to accomplish in one day. So these are quotes from our students who stepped up and took the pilot. A lot of feedback on the civic responsibility, and their favorite really is those about the strategic versus tactical. Our past Kiwanis International president at Key Club, Alex, was saying he really wished he'd had this course several years ago. He thought he would be an even better leader than he is today, which is high praise because that kid is amazing. So just the plans for the fall. This is what we're looking at. So already we've got some feedback from students like, no, I want to be a leader, but I don't want to be the top leader. I'm happy right now being a member. How would I kind of break these apart? And so here you'll see we have kind of a traditional member track. So sorry for the coughing. Versus those who are on the high-speed train to leadership. People can take all of the courses, but we're trying to piece it out for folks. But we're tackling some big topics this fall. And we plan to kind of release this in 3, what we're calling drips. So drip 1 is going to be about 11 or so courses. And then we'll do another set of courses around the end of the first semester in December and January. And then a final third of the courses coming out in the spring. So everything from building meaningful relationship to what is bias, what is empathy, looking at that leadership track, cultivating curiosity. I mean, how many of you have seen that in young employees or students that you work with? And how do you cultivate that curiosity? And I think that that's going to be a really powerful course. We're excited to do that. Then, of course, public speaking and presenting, how to have effective meetings, kind of the nuts and bolts pieces, along with some of today's topics that, you know, a lot of times people have steered away from in trying to teach this content. But we think that this is another piece that's going to differentiate us and help take this to the next level for our programs. And quite frankly, be a very powerful recruitment tool. So for fall 21, again, new courses launching. One thing that we've really strived to put in place over the last 16 months or so is more feedback loops, so that we're hearing not only from advisors, but the students. We really want their voice and we want to get their opinions. So what we build is really true to what they need, or people aren't going to use it, right? So we have about 2,900, 3,000 students right now on the platform. We're going to build a bigger boat. We need a better learning management system. I think it's Shark Week on some channel. So our goal is to get up to 10,000 students in this upcoming year. We're looking at philanthropic funding opportunities inside with the foundation, the Children's Fund, but of course externally as well. It's good to live in this city with the Lilly Endowment and other philanthropic partners where we may be able to take this on a much broader course than internally. Future Dreams, the goal is to get this accredited by a university or an accrediting body, so it's got additional weight and value to it. We are creating a capstone project for the Global Leadership Certificate graduates. Hopefully this would be in person or hybrid. We want to integrate that capstone with our Circle K and Key Club conventions. And then we'd love to highlight our Kiwanians and alumni in some of these courses. We have opportunity for those veteran voices to talk about lessons learned in leadership. And we're excited to be able to highlight that. I think I may have had a duplicate, sorry. All right, I'm gonna pause right now and take some questions on the Global Leadership Certificate.
Yeah, this is Rick White. I'm with the Brownsburg Kiwanis here in Indiana. And you talk about the different steps that they take in these courses throughout the year. Is there a difference between, and I'm with Key Club, so is there a difference between the freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior years, or would it be necessarily taking that same set of courses each year?
So we, when we were developing this, we thought this would really be coursework that students would complete their freshman and sophomore years, that then would tee them up for a greater success in their leadership pursuits their junior and senior years. But right now, I think if your question is there like a 101, a 102 kind of in some of these courses? Right now, there is not.
Okay. I mean, I realize that it's early on and it's just being developed. I just was a curiosity if there was a differentiation. So really, I need to be looking at the freshmen and sophomores to try to step them into some program like this, more so than juniors and seniors the first year.
Well, I think because we've had such a weird couple of years, to say the least, right, about COVID, I wouldn't deny your juniors and seniors if they want to go ahead and tackle this now, in addition to everything else in their world with college applications and normalizing back to school. I mean, it's open to everyone, but kind of the vision, even pre-COVID, the vision is that this would be able to kind of prime the bench and get students ready for that leadership position, but no harm if the student's already a junior and hasn't taken any of it.
Okay, thank you.
This is Steve Spence. Question, is there a cost to the student or is it just
No.
being a member of Key Club? Or
This is a membership benefit. This is going to be a massive change or addition to the value of membership. You know, we get that quite a bit from students, even at Key Club, $7. What do I get for my money, right? This is what they're getting for their money. And then quite frankly, the homecoming campaign that I'm going to talk about next. We've used these past 16 months or so in the service leadership program to look at the value that we provide and how can we increase that and get our students and leaders and adult volunteers additional materials to add greater value to Key Club and Circle K and all of our programs. And we're going to continue to do that.
thank you.
This is Taka.
Hi,
I met with a faculty advisor, and he was wondering what kind of, well, he was struggling with an effective meeting. The students were not really formal meeting structure, and he wanted to see if we have some kind of training for that. What kind of, I saw the effective meeting, and what kind of course would it be?
Yeah, so I don't have the curriculum right in front of me, but it talks about structure, how to time out your agenda, how to communicate, right? Like great meetings start with a great agenda. And how do you the agenda, how do you communicate that to your members so that they want to attend and they know what's going to happen at the meeting? Shouldn't have a lot of surprises in a meeting, right? So it kind of goes through those basics, talks about minute taking and all of that. And then might I add, I'm going to talk a little bit about it in homecoming, but was this Key Club or Circle K?
Key Club.
We have 14 different meeting kits on various topics that take you through your Key Club year to a month in the school year, available for download. They were built to kind of help advisors during this crazy virtual period because we had so many faculty advisors that couldn't support the clubs due to other, you know, COVID teaching remote responsibilities. So we built those knowing that our Kiwanis advisors would really need them, but they can be a shell. They have an agenda, links to resources, meeting topics that people can pick and choose from. That may be helpful as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else on the Global Leadership Certificate before we head over to homecoming party?
So those meeting kits that you're referring to, where do you find those?
We have them for K Kids Builders and Key Club. And they are, if you just look on, see if I can multitask, probably poorly. I'll try this after I finish the presentation.
Okay.
It's on each, there's all listed in each of their websites. So I think if you just go to like keyclub.org and then say meeting kit, it'll take you to the landing page and you can access those.
Yeah, I got it. I'm pasting the link.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for Key Club.
So there's 14 for each K Kids, Builders, and Key Club. We're going to refresh those for this year as well. And again, we have videos with our students in it. I think it was last September or October. I think it was October. We did a special one for both K Kids and Builders Club on bullying. This was anti-bullying month. And then our Key Club students were actually the ones who wrote the lessons and facilitated the conversation. And then we recorded that and put that into the meeting kits. And so really seeing some great synergy with using or partnering with our Key Club and CKI to help deliver that curriculum as part of their service to K Kids and Builders Club. And that's really exciting when you see all that come together. Gotta give a shout out here to, I see a fellow Broad Ripple Kiwanis Club member with us here tonight. So It's my club. All right, are you guys ready for homecoming? All right, let's do this. All right, can you guys see it okay? Is it in full screen presentation mode or like the different mode?
Full screen.
Perfect. I keep reusing the same PowerPoint and then just put different slides in. So the notes are something from like 3 years ago. So I don't even know what they mean anymore. All right, so this is homecoming. We have complete graphics and look to this campaign. And we started on this last spring, actually, when we were sitting with Bob Broderick and Stan, and I was new to the role and looking at the budget and trying to project what we thought may happen. We knew that back to school was going to be a completely different year than anyone had seen. And we were projecting as low as like 25, 30% of our clubs coming back. And how does that translate for the year ahead? And I said, I have no clue what next year is going to be. We're going to do some surveying. We'll get some ideas from folks, what they think is possible in their own jurisdictions. But after that, we're going to start building the world's largest homecoming party ever to start welcoming everybody back home to Kiwanis. And so it stuck. And 14 months later, here we are, where we're talking about back to school means back to service. So all of these graphics, all of these visuals are going to be made available to, we have special ones for Key Club and CKI. We're building out some additional assets for builders and K-Kids. All of these are going to be available. We're going to send everything out to the district administrators and then build electronic toolkits on the website as well, so that students and adult volunteers can download these pieces. So the idea is that we will be welcoming back home all of the SLPs that we lost in the last really kind of 2 years. We took a hit due to COVID-19. We still actually get a lot of dues paid in the spring, in March, April, and May. Decons, people finally have to pay their dues to go to their decon. Well, we missed out on that in 2020 with the abrupt shutdown. And so we're going to reach back a couple years, not just last year. And it's a targeted outreach campaign to those inactive clubs or those that claim that COVID ACE status. And we're going to have customized pitch materials for a bunch of unique audiences. And Key Club alone has about 1,000 clubs. It's oddly at a very even number. It's like 1,002. And 498 of those we just didn't hear from, crickets. The other 504 actually communicated with us and went on the COVID ACE status. So really it gives us great hope that we only have 498 that we heard 0 out of. So we're excited about that. I'm going to take you through those numbers. So here you'll see the actual impact. This was back in April. These numbers have moved a little, but not a ton. So we did that survey that I was just talking about. We did a survey and we asked people, do you think you can meet at all? Will that be online? Or wait, do you think you'll meet? Will it be online? Will it be in person? Or your school or community is not allowing in gatherings online or in person? And so we had a really great response to that survey. We had about 40% of our SLPs actually respond to us and give us this data. And from there, we began to, we budgeted a lot more conservatively because we know what people's aspirations are in a survey versus reality. But I'm so pleased to report that we did not take as big a hit with the pandemic that we thought we could have taken. So in reality, right now we're sitting at about 42, 43% of our action clubs came back. As you can imagine, that population was hit the hardest. A lot of those are in facilities where there's certainly even now are very reticent to allow external visitors. So we think that it may take an additional year or more for Action Club to fully bounce back where they were, but we're building out this campaign and we'll be ready. CKI, we had about, at this point, we're at about 75% of members and about 68% of clubs came back. Key Club, we have heard from 89% of our key clubs. That includes some that, maybe typically have 200 members and now they have like 4, they only listed officers. But that again gives us a little bit of hope as we move forward that they wanted to keep their key clubs alive. They wanted to keep that number and they wanted to keep moving forward. So we've already begun to hear from folks that they'll be back this year. Builders Club was at about 61% and K-Kids about 62%. And again, those numbers were much higher than we had projected. So we were excited to see that. And that is what we're building from, or building to. So again, we've got some more of these quotes and look and feel for folks to use for other SLPs when you want to do presentations to your schools. So we are right now editing and building out and making pretty individualized pitch materials for the different audiences that we'll need to talk with in order to reactivate those key clubs and in some cases, maybe even start a new one. So we're looking at pitch materials for school organization, leadership, faculty advisors, Kiwanis advisors, and of course, students. If you remember that Key Club one, we've heard from about 89% of clubs. It's only about 55% of students because they were populated with so fewer students. And so we know that it's not just about opening up the clubs, it's helping our student leaders get more of their fellow students and peers into those clubs. We're going to keep up with those meeting kits that I mentioned earlier. We have K-Kids, Builders Club, and Key Club. We're going to have a series of district administrator webinars in August and September, where we're going to share all of these materials, walk through how to find those and access them. We're going to have an updated training and webinars for our advisors. We have completely refurbished the Key Club 101 training. And that will be updated and on the member update center for folks to access here, I'm told, momentarily. And then of course, we'll be building out the rest of the Global Leadership Certificate as just another value add for our students in schools to come back to us. So the timeline right now, July, a lot of communication and outreach. We were at both the Salt Lake City ELC and then the Summer Leadership Conference, the other SLC in Orlando. Have a lot of excitement there. We're going to continue to build out these plans and finesse them and refine them as we talk to folks. And then we're building out individual landing pages on each 5 of the websites for all of our 5 of our programs. You'll be able to go there and access specific materials for each club line. In August, we have a Kiwanis magazine article that will be out that's really talking to our Kiwanians who are our sponsors, our advisors, and letting them know everything that we have planned for the upcoming year and asking for their support in partnership and sponsorship of SLPs. We have a targeted email and snail mail campaign, really reaching out both using new school media and marketing techniques, as well as good old-fashioned letters and phone calls. CKI is a little bit smaller. They only have 124 missing in action clubs. That's easy for that board to kind of break that down, do old school like phone calls. We did handwritten notes to the sponsoring Kiwanis Club presidents. And so really kind of working both high tech and traditional friend making approaches there. Additional training in August for our DAs, our student leaders, and our advisors. And then in September, so many of you may recall last year, Kiwanis team worked together and we did outbound calls to all of the KI presidents around the globe, just checking in on folks and seeing how they were doing during the pandemic. We're going to be calling this September and looking to reactivate our SLPs. We're going to have fresh videos and recruitment materials for our student leaders to use. Again, they've got an uphill climb to repopulate those key clubs. In some cases, it's been, we've lost 2 years worth of students who've graduated, and we may not have had elections to refill these positions. So there's a lot of work to be done. September 13th through the 17th, mark your calendars. We're planning a homecoming week festivities. We'll have more training, more materials, just really kind of an opportunity for the Kiwanis family to come together to kick off homecoming. Almost made it 2 slides without coughing. In October, we always have a lot of Kiwanis New Year messaging, as well as CKI week, and we'll have Key Club week in November, but fresh communications so that this doesn't become static wallpaper to folks. And then targeted outreach and support from our KYP growth team. And then with any plan, you want to take a chance to review and recalibrate that based on results and feedback. And as I've been saying, we're just going to keep rinsing and repeating, right? We're going to see what works, what sticks, and deploy that throughout all of the districts. And then just another recent quote, we did a marketing study with a local group here, and they got some wonderful quotes from our students. And really for our students who are fully engaged, they state wholeheartedly that Key Club is the differentiating factor in their high school experience. They found their people. They are more connected to their school community. They feel like they do better, and it really makes it an unforgettable experience for them. And bottom line is we want that for more students. We know that for many of our young people, both in college and in high school, they're experiencing a little bit of anxiety and a little uncertainty about what back to school will look and feel like for them this fall. Having that sense of coming home, a place of belonging, will make a difference in these young people's lives. And so, as we look at our meeting kits around mental health and anxiety and depression, when we look at some of the courses we're going to be offering in the Global Leadership Certificate that talk about healthy coping skills, all of those pieces combined with the leadership and service, we've got such a wonderful high quality programs that we want to make sure every student has the opportunity to access. And then we're getting fancy. We have a QR code. And if you scan this QR code, and again, I'll get this to y'all to share throughout the district, but if you scan this QR code, you will, it'll take you to a form stack, and Sharon will let us know if it works. And then you get to fill out a survey, and it asks you, are you an alumni? Do you want to get connected in multiple ways? But throughout there, she's given me the thumbs up, hallelujah. You'll see that it also asks, like, do you have an SLP club? Do you want extra support around homecoming? So just let us know. We've got folks ready, willing, and excited to help, and we're ready to kick off this back to school, back to service campaign and homecoming. All right, I'm gonna stop screen sharing here so we can just chat. All right. I like that Gary's ready for the holidays. That makes me endlessly happy. All right, what kind of questions can I answer?
On the Global Leadership Certificate, how do we sell benefits for the future for them with that certificate to say, okay, this is what I've done as a leader, and to be able to use that in the future?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Once we get the rest of this curriculum kind of built out, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to, one, work towards getting it accredited by an external accrediting body. I think that that's going to add a lot of value. And then we're going to work with, hold on, the NAASP, which is the National Association of School Principals. And Key Club is kind of an authorized activity, as well as Key Leader. And those are already pre-populated on college applications where you can tick if you, we will make the our goal is to make the Global Leadership Certificate also one of those. Now on the CKI side, our plan is to work with major employers in certain sectors, their HR teams. And we've already got some great Kiwanians volunteering on this to make sure that what we have is a value for hiring. And we believe once we get a couple of larger employer seal of approval on that curriculum, that we'll be in a good space. And we've also had a couple of smaller colleges already ask us about potentially buying the curriculum and using it for their leadership development on campus. So we are going to be looking at some opportunities to grow CKI through that, and to also look at some fee-for-service opportunities to help pay for this for our members. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes I get going.
Now, how about Key Leader and the Global Leadership Certificate? Are they going to be working together?
Yeah, so we actually, over the last 16 months or so, we have a new virtual component to Key Leader. It's still kind of tough to get 30 people in one open air bunk right now, right? Especially if you have a little sinus infection. People don't want to be around anybody who coughs and sneezes. So we haven't had a lot of Key Leader activity just by the very nature of how they gather. So we did build out a new Key Leader virtually that folks are using. We see a real opportunity to marry components of Key Leader with Global Leadership Certificate, and those two should support each other. And then on the other side, we also, for youth protection, which is what I used to do at Kiwanis, we have a new culture of care curriculum where we're working with our young people on some of those components. So you're going to see more programming come from us, and it's all designed to be complementary and support each other.
Good.
Talk, I've got a question for you. Do you know if there's going to be a presentation at the district convention on GLC? And second, is how close are we to adding 8th graders back to Key Leader?
Martin, do you know?
I don't. What do I know about Key Leader? We're going ahead. Hey, Al, we're going ahead unless, you know, the governor and governance of the state of Indiana make some dramatic changes in the next few months. We're going ahead. It's the end of October. We've actually cut the price a little bit. We're anticipating a slightly lower attendance. In the past, we've had wait lists. Not sure if that'll happen. But the specific content, I am a little in, and when I say I'm a little in the dark, that's my fault. I haven't taken the effort to find out what's going on, and I will.
I did get a notice from the Key Club district governor about Key Leader coming up. I didn't see what the cutoff date for registration is. Have you heard the cutoff date yet?
I do not know, no. But I will find out. I've made a note.
It's good to know you're moving forward with your Key Leader, so that's some good news. Thanks for sharing that.
We're I mean, not to take up time, but you know, everyone has their things that they're really keen on. We actually had a budget setting meeting with the finance committee yesterday, and there's pretty much one voice saying that our view in this district is that Key Leader is like in the top 2 things that we do. And hope it doesn't turn into a Monty Python sketch, you know, the top 2 things are, and then we list 3. So just in case it's in the top 3 things that we do, but I think we were of a mind that it's in the top 2 things that we do. I've said to a couple of schools in the past who don't have a key club, please find me the right student, help us to sponsor them, send them to Key Leader. We will send you back a student who will form a key club. Now,
It's really
think
transformational.
That's a little over the top, but if you do, that's fine. But the point, I think, is still sound.
No, I hear that. I unfortunately haven't had a chance to see it in action, Key Leader, so I'm excited to see some hopefully this fall. But everywhere I hear, and I've read through the curriculum, it really is transformational.
So Al, we'll get you a couple of answers there, and if I forget, Taka or Tammy will remind me because they're like that.
Well, I'm looking at the registration form of Key Leader, and it says full payment must be received by October 29th. So I think that's the cutoff date.
I had always thought that we invited those 8th graders that are coming into freshmen to participate. Al, are you hearing something else, or?
Traditionally, we've had the 8th graders second semester attend. That was when we had 2 Key Leader camps, one in the fall and one in the spring. For several years now, the 8th graders have been excluded. And I think it's really to our detriment in preparing those 8th graders that are our Builders Club students, preparing them as they go into high school to be leaders in our key clubs. I'd love to see us get back to sending the 8th graders.
Taka, maybe you and I can talk to Steve and see where he's parked on that.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Michelle, this is Pete Tinsley.
How are you, sir?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
I wanted to just very quickly, I'm going to get kicked out of our library here at the top of the hour. But to let you know, here in Westfield, your presentation is very timely because of the fact that I'm conducting a roundtable meeting with our local Lions and Rotary and the schools to mitigate really what the schools will do in the coming year relative to the club that has traditionally had the school that's traditionally had a Key Club, an Interact Club, and a Leo Club. And this past year, as a consequence of the pandemic, they combined them all under one umbrella. And the identity of each, I think, has suffered because of that. So I'm anxious to get my hands on any and everything that you have, because in the next 2 weeks, we're meeting with the school representatives. And I think being able to show this as a distinguishing characteristic of Key Club really sets us far ahead. So I'll reach out to you from here and find out what might be available, because it's a pivotal time, and we hope it'll pivot in our direction and to our benefit.
Perfect. Yeah, just drop me an email or if you want to put it in the chat, I can send you the PowerPoint deck that I just did today. Or we can chat through what other materials you think would be helpful. But I think honestly, the Global Leadership Certificate and just the fact that we're going to have all the materials to help our students bounce back and to make life a little bit easier for those faculty advisors is going to be a real game changer for us when we go into schools and talk about re-engaging.
Great, thank you.
Pete, I've been in touch with Becky at Westfield High School.
Yeah.
Could you keep me up to date on what you find out from that meeting? She's going to be on vacation next week and starting Thursday, I believe. So if you could get me in the loop on that and just copy me on what the results are or what happens, I would really appreciate it, Pete. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, Pete, is that specific to Key Club?
Yes. Yes.
So another thing that we have to offer that I know the other groups don't, not that I'm competitive, is we have a partnership with an organization called Erica's Lighthouse. And this Erica's Lighthouse provides a lot of support and counseling for students. And what we heard, even from our club presidents, is that because they're leaders in their school, they have so many of their peers come to them discussing anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. We're going to have a full suite of resources available at no cost to our partner schools and to our students to help address some of these concerns. And we know that the fall is really going to exacerbate some of these feelings that our students have been experiencing over the past 2 years. So just another resource for our schools.
Yep. Great. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Pop in my email in the chat.
Michelle, this is Taka. Kind of following Pete's lead, but will you have any marketing materials that the Kiwanian could take it to the schools? Not the big presentations, but just the marketing materials.
So we actually have this gorgeous like slick brochure, and because you're an Indian, you might be able to get your hands on it a lot easier than anyone else.
That would be super.
And we need to get rid of them. Like I think we forgot they existed, and
Ooh.
Gorgeous. So we have those, and then what we've done is we've printed off the QR codes and we kind of just slip those in there so people can get to the website and get information.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm told in the next 2 weeks that we will have kind of like a pitch material that'll be Key Club branded with the homecoming stuff that you can hand to your school administrators and your faculty advisors that will talk about the benefits of a Key Club.
Yeah, because I think, you know, like Pete said, this is a critical time. If we can have those materials and bring it to the school, I think that would be really, you know, support our clubs. So if we could, well, and Tammy, we could kind of communicate each other so that we can have those materials.
Yeah. Hey, Tammy, I'll be in tomorrow, and Dick Peterson knows where they are too. So if you just ask either of us, we can hook you up with boxes and help get those to the right people.
And what should I call them?
Just ask for the SLP large brochure. Dick will know exactly where they are.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, we could get through the catalog plenty of posters that the kids could adapt for their specific club and their specific school for Builders Club.
Yeah.
And our kids actually grew last year in numbers because of that. We continued meeting with all of our clubs except for one last year, and they met virtually.
Awesome.
But we couldn't find the same thing for K Kids. And that group is just ripe for any kind of leadership, community service type club. The middle schools and the high schools, we have so many clubs we compete with. But the elementary schools, the only thing we compete with is student council. And our kids blow them out of the water. But we don't have the flyers and we don't have the posters that we can use to advertise with the schools or give the parents when they come to the parent teachers meetings to promote the clubs. So the more posters and the more tripod type flyers that you can provide, those are worth their weight in gold for us.
Okay. We are this year going to have a customizable PDF that you can download and then plug in your school name and like when your meeting dates are, and you can customize those posters for your club activities. And we're supposed to have those for K Kids, Key Club, and Builders, the 3 school, K through 12.
Another question is, to whom are you sending emails, or emails basically? Mostly to the advisors?
We have a lot of email list.
Yeah.
So we have, it depends on which email and which campaign, right? But essentially we are working to communicate with the sponsoring Kiwanis Club president. If they have an advisor identified, we will be communicating with that person as well. However, we're missing a ton of advisors. The faculty advisors, again, there's been a huge turnover in teachers and faculty, but if there's a faculty advisor, we're communicating with them as well. And then we have our students communicating with our student leaders.
So would it be
And
possible for
district
you
secretaries and stuff too.
Yeah, would it be possible for you to add like our Kiwanis lieutenant governors, governor, membership coordinator, and so on, so that we know that those emails went, so that we can actually, when lieutenant governors visit the club, and he or she knows that that club has the key club, and maybe we could kind of support them to realize, hey, this email went. Have you seen it? Or something like that.
And there is a communication going out to the governors from
Okay.
Each class, right? So President designee Peter Mancuso is doing some his governors, and then Burt West is going to be having communication with his governor class too to get them fired up. I'm not sure if we can send to all the lieutenant governors. We may break the Kiwanis email structure,
Okay.
but we could encourage you all to send out.
Yeah, so if you could, I guess, send it to Tammy, if that's possible.
Yeah, I will be sending it to all the district secretaries as well.
Okay. And then,
I learned my mistake there. Like, I'm not repeating that again. Like, gotta let them know because they are really the ones who help get things moving.
right.
I
So
got schooled on
Tammy,
that like my second month on the job.
So Tammy, let's talk about how we can distribute that to our lieutenant governors.
We have a great board meeting / convention coming up.
Yes.
When is your district convention?
August 7th.
Okay.
And
Oh,
we
wow,
have
it's
lieutenant-
coming up.
we have lieutenant governor training and board meeting on the 6th, that Friday.
So hopefully we'll have those brochures and everything so that we can distribute over there too.
Where are you guys meeting for your district event?
Carmel.
Carmel. Yeah, we can make sure, we can work with Tammy to get you what you need.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? I know we have 2 more minutes.
Thanks for hanging in there with all the coughing. Sorry.
Hopefully it gets better soon.
Someone told me they had this and it lasted 6 weeks.
We.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Martin, would you like to close?
Hey, I remembered to unmute first, so nobody had to say, hey, you're on mute. Yes, our convention is in Carmel, which is the center of the universe. You may not know that. It's very close to Fishers, the alternate center of the universe. Steve, just stay in Northwest Indy and enjoy. Michelle, thank you so much. You're clearly a little bit under the weather. I hope you're going to get COVID-19 tested. My recommendation is either decent bourbon or red wine. I find it cures most things. But thank you. You're clearly a little under the weather, and we really appreciate you managing to stick it out for an hour. Taka and I were fortunate enough to see some of this in Salt Lake City, but you've added some color and some extra depth to that, and we appreciate that. We are very committed to Key Leader, as you can tell. We're a wee bit enthusiastic about that. We're ready with our convention on August 7th. It's pretty seriously packed because for financial reasons of great fears about what the hotels were demanding, and not knowing what was going to happen in February. We couldn't possibly know in February. You have to cast your mind back a few months. We didn't want to take a $20,000 risk. So we took a few $1,000 risk to meet in on a one day only. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a really, really good day. Got a lot of stuff going on in there. We are in a reconnection with our SLPs. We are presently really spreading the word about, and so I'm going to do a few people here, the Key Club has got talent. I'm hoping that Crazy Simon doesn't have a like a copyright on that expression, and he's not going to ask us for $1 million for using it. But Key Club has got talent is a telethon. It was started in the pandemic, as I'll be brief, but just one of those things that was started as a necessity in the pandemic as to, well, we can't get together. What in the world are we going to do? They raised, oh, I wish I could remember the number. I bet Tammy knows it. I bet Taka knows it. I think about 10 grand. Maybe it was 8. I know that's a lot of difference, but it's a big amount of money for Key Club, all for Riley Hospital. They had an absolute blast. The celebration at the end with balloons and all kinds of good things. And they said, you know, why do we have to have a pandemic to keep doing a telethon? So they're doing it again this year. We are pushing out the word to all the lieutenant governors who we hope will push out the word to all the clubs. At the risk of making people blush, you know, we have lieutenant governors like, you know, Taka used to be one, and Al Riggle, who just jump all over this and get it done. And we have lieutenant governors who get around to it if you prod them 3 times. But we're putting the word out. Oh, and Sharon, I apologize, Sharon, who always got it done. So we're trying to reconnect on that level. We're making absolutely sure at our convention that both Key Club governor and Circle K governor will be talking with us. I also, true confession, everybody here, I spent another $100 of the district's money and invited our immediate past governor from Circle K, because she really worked through a lot of things, from initially being elected as secretary and then being asked, look, we got no governor. Could you do it, please? And she organized our dinner when we were in Salt Lake City. So I invited Nicole, and so I spent $120 of your money, district. So we are really taking seriously what you said. Taka's taken the lead with a series of 4 things. I just fire off a few emails and wave pom-poms. So thank you to Michelle, thank you to Taka. Thank you to all of you who are here, people like Steve and Gary and Al who just support this, and Alfonso who just support this relentlessly. Appreciate it. We're over the time, I'll shut up.
Well, thank you, everybody. It was so nice. I've seen a lot of names and emails and on lists and stuff, so it was lovely to try and put a few more faces and names together. And I'm local, so let me know if there's anything we can ever do to help support SLPs in Indiana. So, and we have another Key Club Hoosier on the international board, Cheyenne. So, good times.
And we did send Cheyenne a congratulatory note from the district. That's the good news for her. The next thing is when we ask her to do stuff for us. But anyways, we'll cross that bridge.
It's been a real fun part of my role is getting to know Cheyenne and Emma a little bit better over this past year. And just, we have so many amazing students in all of our programs. So thank you for all you do to help develop those students.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.